This week we learned about how fertiliser can increase the yield and replace nutrients in the soil so we can feed more people, and that's a good thing. However, fertilisers can also have a negative effect if they wash off into a river or a loch. This is called leaching, and it causes the water to become eutrophic, which is a fairly horrible word, and it just means there's a lot of nutrients in it. Now, when the water becomes eutrophic, microscopic plants called algae start to grow on the top of the water. And when they do that, they block light going to plants that are lower down in the water. So those plants can't photosynthesize anymore. They die. When they die, bacteria break them down, cause them to decompose, and the bacteria use up the oxygen. When the oxygen gets used up, the water becomes anoxic, and that means that fish and other things that live in the water don't have enough oxygen, so the fish, they die. Now, you might get questions on that. You might also get questions on the effect of sewage. Now, sewage does the same sort of thing. When you dump sewage into a river, bacteria decompose the sewage, use up the oxygen. Again, the water becomes anoxic and the fish die. Sometimes they'll give you questions about, they'll show you a river, and there'll be something getting dropped into the water at one point in the river. So before the river gets contaminated, the oxygen level will be high. Then you get contamination in it. Bacteria decompose the contamination. They reduce the amount of oxygen, and the question might tell you how much oxygen is left in the water below that. It will slowly go back to its higher level, and you have to work out things like, well, where was the sewage dropped into the water, or why did it happen? Why did the oxygen go down? But it's all basically the same question. You get something in the river that causes more nutrients. Could be leaching of fertilizer, could be sewage. This causes things like algae to grow, in the case of the fertilizer. When they do that, they stop plants photosynthesizing, bacteria decompose the dead plants, and that reduces the oxygen. With sewage, the bacteria just decompose the sewage, and that reduces the oxygen too. When there's no oxygen, things like fish that should be living in the water can't live in the water anymore. And that's what these ones are about.